Rebecca is wondering what the pros and cons are of 24/7 turnout.
So we'll do pros first. And
Okay.
when I think of the pros, the good reasons for turnout, I think of horse health. I mean, horses are supposed to be turned out. We keep them inside for convenience. So movement is huge, right? Movement helps your joints not be stiff. It helps your hooves with the circulation. It even helps your digestive system. You need movement to sort of get things working and flowing. And you can jump in here anytime.
I was going to say, as a runner, I can relate to movement helping things in a lot of those areas. You know, I think with the joint one, a lot of people think if my horse is sore, I should probably keep him inside so that he rests. But I think what most people actually see is exactly as you described. Right. The horse does better and is more comfortable if he's not standing and getting stiff and getting stocked up.
Correct, yeah. Other reasons for other pros are if they're turned out together, it could be socializing. They really like other horses. For the most part. Horses think horses are cool, yeah, and they have to know each other. It's healthier as far as fresh air. It's well ventilated in the outdoors.
Not a lot of cobwebs trapping a lot of dust.
And the urine doesn't build up. Speaking of manure, it could be easier to clean up if you're turned out on a limestone paddock or something. So, any pros I'm missing?
Is there, in terms of the movement, not just being good for things like hooves, joints, circulation, is it also beneficial for weight maintenance?
It can be. I mean, if you're creative in how you set up like a food station, if you ask them, use a small whole hay net or something and put them in different places on their turnout and put like a flake in each one, they're going to have to walk to graze. So you're simulating grazing, unless your 24/7 turnout is grazing. And then that's awesome because horses are designed to meander, to wander, and also to trickle feed, to eat small amounts frequently. So all those are good things. I thought of another one. If you're not keeping a horse in a stall, it's money savings because you're using less bedding. You're not using bedding.
Any bedding.
Yeah. So,
right.
So should we move to cons?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. What's the downside?
You have to catch them, which for some horses can be a problem. So. If they're outside, they might be dirtier, so you have to catch and then clean them. If they're outside, they're probably not going to be supervised 24/7. So depending on where you live, there could be predator-type dangers, or there just could be horses, like we talked with the first question, they're accident-prone. You know, they see a fence and they feel compelled to run into it. So
I think on the flip side of horses being social animals too, sometimes they choose who they like and don't like, and so managing a herd and introducing a new horse is more challenging than just throwing a horse in a stall.
Sure, yeah, and that liking and not liking does change from day to day sometimes, it seems like. We talked about the manure management. It can be easier or harder in a stall.
Certainly it's less space to cover to clean it up.
It's a smaller area, but depending on how deep you bed, it can be trickier, and then you have the added cost of it.
Plus, if your horse keeps a messy stall, and he's one of those ones who, as soon as he poops, he spreads it all over, and then everything is dirty.
Or poops in the water, you know, one of those. They're less inclined to do that when they're outside. So bedding, the ventilation, that's a huge con for horses that have a respiratory sensitivity because it's enclosed, and so the ammonia builds up and the dust builds up, and it's harder for them to breathe because of all the small particles that are going down their lungs. So,
aside from the danger either from potential predators or from each other due to mood swings, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of cons in terms of the horse's health. It seems like a lot of the cons we're focusing on are on the convenience side. So it seems like you're landing on, if you can, turnouts.
I'm definitely landing
turnout's
on
the best.
I understand that.
I know you to be pro turnout.
Yeah, well, my horse has now been in the stall for going on 3 years now. So I'm a firm believer in that.
And it's not because he's not a fancy dressage horse, because he is.
We do a lot of cleaning and catching. But yeah, I think turnout is the way to go if you can realize that not every place in the country, not every barn allows it or has room for it. So you are limited by geography at times too.
But there are things you can do to mimic it if you can't provide turnout all the time. Like you were saying, providing the small whole hay net in the stall to make it more like the small intake of grazing. Making sure that your horses exercise, especially if he's a horse that tends to get stiff. You know, making sure he gets out every day. So I think provide the turnout if you can. If you can't, do your best to fake it.
24/7 turnout, as much turnout as you can.
Is
great.
All right. I will say on the hard to catch note, on the flip side, that can be a pro.
Exercise.
Because if you exercise for humans, I like where you're going. But if you go out to the field and your horse comes up to you, what a feeling.
Yeah.
That's love.